could you give us an update on Jordan Reed and Barry Cofield?
Cofield has a high ankle sprain. Getting checked out today, and then but it looks like he could miss some time. And then Jordan Reed has a mild hamstring strain, and that's another one. It's he was very sore after the game, so that could be some time also.
Checked out at MRI, is that for Barry?
Yeah, did the MRIs on both of them.
Okay.
So we'll see how it goes. Go with the trainer and probably be a week or 2 or 3, or we'll see.
And one more, Jason Hatcher. He went back in, I believe. So,
yeah, Hatcher's okay. Yeah, no issues with Jason.
With Barry being out, does Baker automatically go to the nose then?
Yeah, we have, Chris Baker can play nose. He finished the game at nose, did a very good job at nose. So, our depth is being tested a little bit on defensive line. And whether we get some of these guys back or not, we'll find out. But Chris Baker is a very good nose guard, so we'll be okay there.
Offensively, with Jordan, how hard is it, first of all, what are you going to lose with him, but also how hard is it to have a guy like that who needs to be a key part of your game plan, who has those durability issues, and you're not sure if he's going to finish a game sometimes? That's
very difficult. You have a lot of formations and part of your game plan designed around him, playing him outside and in the slot and all that, and when he goes out after the 7th play of offense, it hurts you a little bit, but luckily we had other things we could do. Didn't do him very well, but we were able to do some other things. But he was a major part of the game plan, especially in the red zone. But didn't work out that way. Now we just got to get him well as soon as we can and keep moving.
Jay, is Barry then becoming a candidate for that IR designated to return spot?
You know what? We're going to wait and see what the doctors say afterwards and how long they envision him being out. But he's also been battling that sore groin too. So it'd be good for him to get some rest and hopefully get back healthy. Don't know the timetable yet on that.
Jay, when you went back and watched the tape, did you think maybe that you guys should have run the ball a little bit more in the second half than you did? You had pretty decent balance in the first half, and obviously some of that worked.
We had a good balance. You take out the I think we had about 6 plays in the 2-minute drill in the first half and about 8 passes in the 2-minute drill in the fourth quarter. That's 14 passes or so, somewhere around there. I think we're about right around 50-50 throughout most of the game. You take out the 2-minute drill. So, some of the plays that really hurt us were we tried the reverse. We lost 9 yards, and some of our boots and design play actions to get Robert out of the pocket, we were very unsuccessful on those. I think we ran 5 of those. We completed 4 of them for like 5 yards, something. Defense did a great job over there at Houston playing those things. So we got to do a better job on those when we decide to do some play actions. We got to do a better job of making the teams pay and at least trying to get some better positive plays out of them. We didn't take advantage of those whatsoever.
Jay, when you look at the gaffes throughout the game, do you look at that as just a sign that you guys have a long way to go, or you see these as things that you can easily tweak and get them fixed?
Well, you try to be the positive one, and you look at they are very correctable mistakes that we made. And the one thing I did like is our defense was flying around to the ball, and there was a lot of good things on tape, but we had some monumental mistakes that can't happen in pro football. You can't fumble the ball in the red zone, you can't give up big plays, and you can't let a guy rush inside of a wing guy on a punt protection. So there are some things that are very correctable, obviously, but there are some things that we did well, but we just didn't play good enough all the way around. And if there is a good thing, offense, defense, and special teams, they all had their hand in this loss. It wasn't like it was just the offense, it was just the defense, it was just the special teams. I think everybody can really take a long look at themselves in the mirror and realize that, everybody could have done something better, and hopefully they will and move forward to next week.
Sean's got such a unique skill set. He's so fast, obviously. How do you try to take advantage of that? You saw the reverse yesterday. How do you take advantage of that and make sure he's not just another receiver out there?
Yeah, we got to. He's very explosive, and throwing him some short balls, let him run after the catch is one thing, but we got to get him the ball out in space a little bit more. And we tried the reverse; it didn't quite work. And there's some other things we need to try moving forward to get him the ball because he's electric when he gets the ball. So it's good to see him out there. He competed very well. Pierre did too. But we got to utilize those guys a little bit more. But when you say that, then you talk about then you're not utilizing your running game. You know what I mean? So we got to have good balance on our team, but it does start with the run game. And if I had to do it all over again Sunday, I probably would have run the ball more than I did.
Ian Nacho didn't play at all on defense yesterday. Do you see him having a bigger role next week, especially given Rambo's struggles?
Yeah, I hope so. Rambo, he had the big play obviously that we flubbed up on, but I think Duke, with another week of practice, will be ready to give us some production on defense and on special teams, more so than he did obviously this week.
After you looked at film,
Yes.
After you looked at film, what did you think of Robert's play and decision-making and execution?
It was pretty good. He did some good things, obviously, and there's some plays there that I'm sure he wished he had back, obviously, as everybody does in that game. We took a sack at the 34-yard line. We're in field goal range. Didn't have much protection, but we got to throw it away. We took a sack on a screen pass in a 2-minute drill that can't have happen, but he did complete, I think, 75 or 80% of his passes, which were good. But really, to score 6 points on offense, not quite good enough.
Keenan and Ryan Clark played well yesterday, especially with Ryan Clark. How do you feel like that fiery tenacity that he showed, carried over for the other guys?
Yes, so he's brought in to do fly around and give the defense some energy. He did that. He missed a few tackles that I'm sure he regrets, but for the most part, I was very impressed with Ryan and the defense in general. There's some situations that we didn't do a good enough job of getting the ball back for our offense, or we didn't force as many turnovers as we'd like to have. But I think overall to hold the Texans to 10 offensive points was pretty good, and Ryan Clark was a big reason.
Jay, you're the play caller. You're going to take it on yourself if you say things don't go right. But Texans control the ball pretty much, in the second half. They had drives of like 3 minutes, almost 6 minutes, almost 7 minutes, and you fumbled twice inside the 10. You don't put that on you. That's execution, and that's the other team controlling the ball, don't you? Isn't that fair to say?
Yeah, we could have done better in the first half. First half, we were poor. I was poor in the first half, and we could have had a nice lead. However, we didn't execute, and I took some shots with some play actions that failed miserably, and didn't quite work out. But you're right, defensively, we got to do a better job of getting off the field on third down. And if you look at the stats, if you're a stat person, third downs were a major issue for us on offense and on defense. They were 50%. I think we were 25%. And that's a huge issue, And, 3rd and 6, they get a first down to gain 7. Now, that not only obviously gives them better field position, eats up another minute and a half of the clock. And hats off to the Houston playing good ball control offense and keeping the offense off the field. But you're right, we do got to do a better job defensively getting off the field and stopping them on third down.
Jay, going back to Robert and that fumble, I know yesterday was kind of a weird situation, but he's had those in the past. He's had situations where he's either fumbled the ball in a handoff or just gotten a bad snap. Are there things you can work on with him when it comes to ball control right after the snap that just makes it so those things just don't happen?
Yeah, there are. I think he just took a bad exit angle away from the center on the fumble to Alfred, and Alfred, noticed that something was off kilter, and Alfred changed his hands at the last second to try to catch it like this instead of keeping the pocket. Robert was trying to put it in the pocket, and then Alfred changed it at the last second. I think it hit his elbow. But I think if you look at Robert's feet on the exit angle, he could have done a better job of getting away from the center, getting away from Corey to get the handoff back there. And those are things that you can't take for granted in football. Fundamental footwork, all that is very, very important. And anytime you jeopardize that, then you're going to have some problems. And in that case, going back to look at the film, he could have got out a little bit steeper of an angle on the exit, and it cost us.
Are you just going to run with 2 tight ends on the roster until Jordan Reed gets back, or are you looking at maybe making a move there?
Yeah, we got some guys working out. We'll work some guys out this week and see what happens. But, if we have to play with 2, we will. Tom Compton played some tight end there a little bit. But we have Logan and Niles. They both know the system. To bring a guy in this late and get him ready in a couple days is going to be rough. But it happens all across the NFL, and if we have to do that, we will. But we want to find out the severity of Jordan's injury before we go crazy. Hopefully it's not as long as we are dreading, but we'll find out here the next couple days.
The special teams, obviously, it's so glaring to see. First of all, I wanted to ask you about the extra point. Was that a low kick play a part in that when you watched the film? Or was
I ran it back a bunch of times. I couldn't tell. It might have been just a little bit low, but JJ busted through there, and Kendrick was a little bit soft in the protection. Kendrick in the center got to be a little bit more stout, and he just went low and raced through there and made a good block. But I couldn't tell if it was abnormally low or not.
And just overall, obviously, no one's going to run Ben out of town after one game. But when you have a couple of plays like that and a couple others on various special teams, do you powwow with him a bit more, or hey, what can we do?
You know what? Actually, it's very unfortunate because the one they blocked wasn't even a punt block design. It was just a mental lapse. Roy just was out to lunch on that one play, and it's unfortunate. It was a great play by their kid. Blue made a good block, but it wasn't even a design block. I don't think it just can't happen. And then the extra point block was a little rarity, but other than that, I mean, you look at Andre had a couple good returns. We covered kicks extremely well. Guys were flying around, but when you have two plays like that, they're bad, and they make the whole day look bad. And the same thing with offense. He fumbled twice in the red zone, and he scores 6 points. It takes away from the fact that you're 29 for 36 passing the ball, and defensively you hold them to 10 points, but you can't get off the field, and you give up a big, huge play, a 75-yarder. It takes away from the fact that those guys did some good things too. So, anytime you lose, the bad plays are magnified. When you win, we're not even talking about those things. So, that's the nature of the game. We just got to get everything corrected and move on.
Jay, I actually had something else, but I want to ask you, since you're talking about the punt protection stuff and with Roy, if it's not a design block and the guy you said he's just out to lunch in the play, is it hard to trust him back in that position?
Well, that's a good question, and that's something that will be addressed, and we'll try some other people back there. The thing, Roy was in that series at running back. We went 3 and out. We ran the reverse, they got it lost, and we ran 2 other plays, and Roy said he's a little bit winded and lost a little bit of focus. And, so that's an instance where we might have to put a defensive player in that spot at that time. So.
Secondly, what did you think of Arakpo yesterday?
Well, defensively, like I said, we did a pretty good job, but you didn't really see him flash or make any splash plays. He was doing his job, did pretty good, but we expect a lot from Arakpo and Kerrigan. Kerrigan had a big forced fumble, but overall, they didn't really get a lot of great opportunities to just flat out rush. There's a lot of third down and mediums, a lot of runs, a lot of quick play actions. So it's the responsibility of our run defense to really get them in second and long and third and long to give our guys an opportunity to rush, and didn't get a whole lot. And when we did, they did a good job blocking them. So got to do a better job of offensively trying to get a lead and making teams pass to catch up. Then we can really unleash our pass rushers. Didn't happen. They had to lead the whole game. We're really conservative in their approach offensively and did just enough to win.
With the DeAndre Hopkins touchdown, obviously we know what happened with Rambo. Was somebody supposed to trail with him up the field? Did somebody kind of drop off in their coverage?
Yeah, we had a coverage that kind of got fouled up a little bit. We had a couple guys break it, but ultimately when they make a big play, we got to get them on the ground for 25-yard gain, and missed tackles twice is unfortunate, but we're supposed to have somebody trail them underneath and blew the coverage. He played some nickel and did a pretty good job. Didn't have a lot of opportunity balls thrown his way, but overall I think for 7 plays in his first game, he did good on special teams also. He did fine. And I think Biggers played majority of the time at nickel, and he did a good job also at nickel. So those 2 guys at nickel, they can both play in there. Just a matter of keeping them fresh, and depending on the defense, who's going to be in there. What's that?
Look out there with the first.
Yeah,
play.
yeah.
That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Andre Roberts obviously had a busy day. Your thoughts on how he did and that odd, collision with Durrell. Was that just a freak thing or anything to add to that?
Oh, on the punt return? Yeah, he just didn't see him. I think if Durrell would have saw him and got out of the way, he'd still be running. It was a great design on the punt return, but unfortunately, Durrell was trying to find somebody else, and they just collided. It happens sometimes. But overall, I think Andre's a dang good football player. He did a good job in the return game, and he had a big catch. And we got to do a good job of getting him more involved in offense also. Trying to get him more balls and trying to get Deshaun more balls and Pierre more touches and getting Alfred the ball more. We just got to have more snaps. In order to do that, we got to do a better job on third down. When we're punting on third down after third down, we're not maintaining drives. and we're not distributing the ball to people that need to get the ball.
Coach, here's the true last question. Apparently, can you talk about the play of the offensive line? How did you think they did?
Yeah, 6 points. Offensive line was very much scrutinized. J.J. Watt had a great game, obviously, and Mercedes had a good rush, and Brooks Reed had some good rushes. I'd say they'd all be pretty much disappointed in the way they played. Trent gave up a sack and had a holding call, and I think Corey had a very good game. Laval had a couple of pressures. Chester actually played pretty well, and of course Tyler gave up a sack and had a couple of pressures too. So when you put the whole grade on the board, when you have this guy had 2 pressures, this guy had a sack, this guy had 2 pressures, he had 2 sacks, it combines to 7 or 8 or 9, and it's not good enough. And then you throw in a tight end that gave up a pressure and a back that gave up a pressure. So overall, we got to do a much better job in pass protection. We're going to play teams with not just 1, but 2, but 3, but 4 good pass rushers. Jacksonville's no different. Clemens and Red Bryant, and they got some players that can rush a passer also. So we got to step it up. Thanks, Coach. Thank you.